800-8949. Now, I want to mention just a couple of things about. Sorry, I'm looking here and have we're live on Facebook, and I just wanted you to know that we are live on Facebook. And there's a story out of Dalton. I just wanted to touch it briefly. Tim Pham of TV3 is talking about the Dalton Police Department, and there's new equipment being hired. A kind of a gun that shoots lasers and also has a video and a camera running as well to measure distances between cars and vehicles on the roads in Dalton. It will tell, Officer David Saylor is quoted here, it will tell the distance between the first car and the second car. Ultimately, that's going to cut down on following too close on the crashes that we are having and the speed that they're traveling. Again, this is you can tell it's an accurate quote because it sounds very much as people actually speak. This is how people put sentences together today. There's 70 cops in that department in North Georgia, and the device has a camera that captures videos and photos for use in court. Tailgating, the story says, is not only dangerous, but depending on the situation, you can be charged with following too close and or reckless driving. Officer Sailors, again, you have that distance and you start putting in a cell phone or talking to people, maybe a passenger, or messing with the radio, or even reaching in the back seat, that's going to change that time. It's going to make you respond longer. That's how people talk. Okay, that's a quote from Tim Pham. So I appreciate Tim Pham making note of what could be called distracted driving. These programs are, of course, to protect motorists. That would be people operating motor vehicles and operating or driving passenger motor vehicles in commerce in public. Speaking of public safety, we have a story out of Gulfport, Mississippi, that I thought to mention because we have here in our city a pending walking while black civil litigation against the city government in Chattanooga, and a law enforcement professional who was fired for his abuse of this gentleman in Chattanooga. The name is Hanson Melvin, a family man, very hardworking, devout Christian man in the Hickson area, and something to a party somewhat like him, a family man, happened in Gulfport, Mississippi. And the thing I think is worth considering is calling 911. Calling 911 is a number that you should not call. Okay, let me suggest that you not call it. I had occasion recently to tell a lady acquaintance not to call 911 in a dispute she was having with a landlord, and the reason is that people get killed. You call 911, people get killed. Not necessarily here in Chattanooga. Chattanooga is graced with a certain mildness that I think we don't find in other parts of the country, where God's grace has not been poured as amply. But here in Gulfport, there's a picture of the reasons not to call that emergency number, and it's about a family, both medical professionals, and they were swarmed Sunday night in this story that came out the 1st of November. Sunday night, they were handcuffed. They're newlywed. They have children. Officers pulled guns on the children before determining that the house that the family that they were protecting from a theft, right? The house they were protecting from theft was in fact property of this couple. The man's name is Kelvin Farley, and he says, "I totally think that they racially profiled me." He's an RN, and he happens to be black. They never would even tell me why they stopped me. From the moment they pulled us over, there were 6 to 7 police cars. They immediately had their guns drawn. Remember, a robbery is one thing, a theft is another. An empty house cannot be robbed. It simply can't be. It is a theft that would be in view as a violation. Farley said the officers told him to get out of the car with his hands up. He kept asking why they had pulled him over, but he said he got no explanation. He said he offered to show the police his ID, which would immediately have established his address, right, as being right there at that house. They wouldn't tell me what it was about, and they held guns on us, even on the kids, and they told us to shut the F up. Why would you hold a gun on kids, drag them out of a car, and talk to them like that? I mean, clearly, a man who has children in his car is a domesticated man, right? He is taking advantage of the benefits, privileges, and rights of marriage, and is no doubt domesticated by the union in marriage. Their 16 and 12-year-old sons and 9-year-old daughter and 12-year-old nephew were with him. Farley said he was handcuffed and put in the back of a patrol car. His wife is a psychologist. Her name is Natasha Krikorian. She perhaps has a Serbian background, and that's her name, keeping her professional name, was also handcuffed. Okay. We have a theft report. It said here in this newspaper that it's a robbery. Of course, you can't rob an empty. Robbery is a personal confrontation with someone threatening personal injury and then taking that person's goods or person. The shaken couple went to the police department Sunday night to report how they had been treated. They were told to fill out a form, but insisted on speaking with someone. Here now is an interview that just cries for God's grace. Okay, it cries for a sense of magnanimity on the part of officials. The mayor should have been. These are the mayor's people, right? These things happen under the authority and jurisdiction of the mayor of Gulfport, Mississippi. Just as here in Chattanooga, the good and the bad that police officers do are all the mayor's doing. These things belong to the mayor of Chattanooga, Andy Burke. So remember that. Remember, when a good thing happens, Mayor Andy Burke should get credit. When a bad thing happens, Mayor Andy Burke deserves a question. And caller, this is David Tulis. You're live on the David Tulis program. What's on your mind?
Hey, David, can I share something with you?
Go ahead.
Never, ever, 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 ever call 911.
Oh, I didn't say that. I wouldn't go that far.
I agree with you. Unless you have to. Don't ever do that. Because you're putting the police in the situation to take an action. If there's a two-party dispute, typically one person's going to jail, even if they don't have to go to jail. So try to resolve it yourself if you possibly can do that, because we are in a police state. I don't mean that cops are bad. I'm just saying that it's evidenced by the fact that, in a republic, in a constitutional republic, not a communist country, they don't look at David Tulis and try to find the crime he's committed. And I'm surprised that Mayor of Chattanooga hasn't done that, since they didn't allow you to go to one of the press conferences. You see, that's what they do in communist regimes. Like at checkpoints, everyone's guilty till proven innocent. They're looking for a crime at a checkpoint. So America is a police state under communist occupation, which is the bureaucrats that refuse to adhere to their oath of office and follow the Constitution and believe that court decisions are the law. Even though they didn't take an oath to the court decisions, they took an oath to obey the Constitution. So in a police state, it's very dangerous when you call the police, unless really your life is in danger, because the law enforcement growth industry dictates that they want you in jail. Remember that, America. The system wants everyone in jail at least one time. Never forget that.
Well, Mike, I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. You are right. But there's a conflict here, and we're going to look at this today in detail. And the conflict within the breast of the system, the breast of the judicial industrial complex, is this. We're realizing that we're causing ruination among thousands and thousands of people in Southeast Tennessee. We've already ruined thousands of lives. We've ruined thousands of lives. We've cost people their jobs. We've cost couples to break up. We've had children put in jeopardy. We have children without proper care. We have remote grandmothers called in to stay with children when the mom is in jail. She can't get it. She doesn't have $150 to pay, or she doesn't have $100 to pay the $1,000 bond fee from the bondsman. She can't pay that, so she's in jail for weeks. And the system and human beings, good human beings in that system, know that there's something corrupt, and they're working on it. And here's the conflict. Okay, on one side, you've got people such as Anna Protano-Biggs, who is director of the Mental Health Court. This is we're going to hear about this today. This is a very, very important discussion. These people are trying to end the accretion of damage that may have already affected you, my listener. And I sure hope it has, in a way, because then you'll understand what we're talking about, and you will want to do something in favor of the victims of this state-run progressive machine. Okay, we need you involved in this matter. And if you haven't been directly affected, let yourself be affected by empathy. Okay, by the empathic gift God gave you. think about the people such as Hans and Melvin who've been almost ruined by their experiences in this machinery. So there's a conflict. On one end, you have the machine that wants everybody in, as Mike is suggesting. But on the other side, on the other hand, you have people who realize it can't go on this way. We've got to decriminalize many things that are now alleged crimes, right? Paper crimes. Well, this is David Tulis, brought to you by Nooganomics.com. Nooganomics.com. Check it out. Subscribe now. David Tulis.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio, Digital FM 9.